Hi guys, Andy at ARS Airguns, aka Air Rifle Sniper. Today I'm going to give you a little few tips on the newly released Reximex Lyra K. There's a couple of things that I've come across already, although it is a newish release, and I shall run through them for you now. Obviously, first things first, main bolt underneath the stock, whip that out, put your stock aside nice and safely. Now, out of the box, I'd highly recommend that you have a look at this and do it, because they all seem to be coming loose. In the top of the body of the rifle, you've got 4 small grub screw Allen keys, bolts, placed on toe. This basically by the cocking section. So undo those, and with a little bit of gentle persuasion, slide the top housing off. Pull the bolt back and just cock the rifle. Then again, with a little bit of gentle persuasion, slide the cocking arm out with the pellet probe, which basically leaves you with that view. Now, this little item in there with a flat-headed screw is what we need to be talking about. Get yourself a very good fitting flat bladed screwdriver and make sure that is tight, because every one I've come across so far is finger tight and it's sloppy as hell, and what will end up happening is it will work loose, it will keep moving back and forth and fatigue the thread, and it will ruin the hammer, it will ruin the pin, it will basically ruin the rifle. So nip that up, that one right there, and make sure it's tight. Now, lots of you like the videos for tuning, etc, etc. First of all, you've got, you know, your hammer spring adjusters, which you need to drop off the trigger guard, which, as we can see here, there's an Allen key at the back and an Allen key at the front. Drop that out of the way. Some of you may find, whilst trying to do that, there's a small grub screw in the trigger guard. The easiest way to get it off is actually remove this and pull the trigger guard off, but I don't particularly like doing it, because the more you tamper with this, the threads are so fragile that you'll go to nip it up, and after having to move it a couple of times, the thread's gone. So this trigger blade will be sliding all over the show. So if you can just, once you've released the trigger guard, like so, slide it backwards as far as you can and just gently fatigue it back and forth and slide it off. Now, once that's off, this is what we're looking at. This rear section here, there's most likely going to be an anti-tamper in there, which you'll see as you look down. You'll just see a little dot on no headed thing. So centre punch it, very small drill bit and an easy out, and just wind that. It will just be a small little cap. Once that's out, there's another grub screw below that. You need to loosen that, which will give you access to adjusting the hammer spring itself. So just get my Allen key. I believe it's that big. Yep. So like I say, that fits down inside there. Back it out, you don't need to wind it right the way out, just loosen it off. And that in turn will give you access to adjusting your hammer spring. Now, the depth that flat-headed groove is in that plate is very, very shallow, so your chances are when you're trying to adjust it, the screwdriver is just going to eat into it and it's going to slip out everywhere. So my best advice is tap out that pin. Once that grub screw is removed or loosened up that I showed you earlier on the back there, this whole plate will come out, allowing you to deepen the cut for that to actually fit in. You may be lucky, it may just be loose enough that, you know, you don't need to be particularly doing it, but I'll just nip that up while I think about it. So that's one minor mod you can do, because most of these they all shoot low on power out of the box. We're all going to say it. It's purely because obviously the importers don't want all the comeback of people saying, oh, it's overpowered, I've put this pellet through it, and or you know, it's shooting above what it should be, etc, etc. So that's basically why they do it. Anything from sort of early 10 foot-pound up to sort of late 10 foot-pound is where it's going to be out the box. If it's above that, you'll be very, very lucky, regardless what the chrono printout that you're supplied with the rifle says. To me, I don't know where the hell they get the results from, but they are miles off. Every single one, brand new out the box I've ever dealt with, that's had a chrono report, none of them are accurate, and 90% of the time, none of them are even to do with the rifle that you're handling. It's just a fabricated sheet of paper with that particular model of rifle, and they just bulk print it and throw it in the box. That's my opinion, because it's the only way I can come up with that they get the results that are so different with each rifle. So there we go, that's my little dig at them. Another power improvement, that's basically the bot. Underneath you've got a grub screw at the back here and a grub screw right by the gauge. This rear grub screw will have an anti-tamper in it. Again, same principle, centre point drill, easy out, wind it out, and then basically replace it with a standard little grub screw. It's an M5 from memory. Then loosen the front one, which will allow you to slide the main valve out. On that point, you're going to see the two locating divots there. If you flip it over, you'll see this point here. It's your main valve port. Now, the best advice I can say is to lock this section in a soft jaw vise. If you haven't got soft jaws, old leather belt or anything that is going to protect this block from being marked, clamp it in the vise. Then get yourself a 13mm spanner on the flat face of this and unwind it. As you pull it out, just be careful, because obviously the valve is in there. So as you wind it out, pull the valve and the spring etc out, and that will leave you access to be able to drill this port. Basically, you want to be looking at, depending on the caliber of rifle, if it's a 177, 4mm, if it's a .22, 5mm. That's basically, or 5.5mm on a .22, that's as maximum you want to take the port out to, purely because it starts taking things close to this O-ring otherwise. That's your tip. As you can see, this is bog standard, it's just out of the box, brand new rifle that I'm doing work on for the chap. It's going to have basically a big carbon bottle fitted, possibly a regulator at the same point, but we'll see where he wants to go. So that's the tip on that. That's basically, is it more or less, you know, the straightforward tuning side of it. Whilst you've got it apart, this being the cocking lever, that small screw there, make sure it's tight, because they all come loose, and if they're not, back it out, put a little bit of Loctite on it and wind it back in, because it will come loose. They're prone for it, and what happens is it comes up, sits proud above the surface, and then it catches on the body when you come to cock it, damaging the face of the surrounding area, and obviously stopping it from cocking and loading properly, and eventually it will just snap off and the hand will come away. So, you know, preventative maintenance for you there. That's basically as far as we're going to go with the Lyra K. Obviously if for any reason you need to take the barrel out, I'll drop that one in. There we go. The rear grub screw for that is an anti-tamper as well. Same method before, and the front one is not. So you can loosen the front one, take out the rear one, slide the barrel out. There's two O-rings that locate it as it goes in. And that's basically a lot. Hope that's going to help some of you guys. Thanks for watching. If you like the videos and wish to see more, as I've said before, click on the link, buy me a coffee, subscribe, follow, get us on Facebook, ARS Airguns. Thanks for watching. Catch you again soon, guys. Thank you.